Hi everyone, my name is Alicia Hack and this is my Windshield survey project for Nursing 447. The two communities I chose to do my project in are both located in the city of San Jose. The first community is Willow Glen, more specifically the zip code 95125. This community would be considered a middle to higher income area. The second community is Eastside San Jose, more specifically zip code 95122, and this would be considered a lower income area. The physical environment. Willow Glen is busy and crowded, but less crowded than Eastside San Jose. It is fairly well kept, and there is evidence of affluence and appropriate funding to maintain the clean conditions. Eastside San Jose is very crowded and busy at almost all hours of the day. It does appear dirty in some areas, and there is evidence of poverty and a lack of funding to maintain conditions. The general appearance. Willow Glen has a combination of older and newer homes. Older homes are clean and well maintained, and the newer homes appear more modern. The residential areas typically have more parking and are less crowded, and there are very few open lots. In Eastside San Jose, there are a lot of older homes. Some are well maintained, but a good amount are poorly cared for on the outside. There is extremely limited street parking in residential areas due to overcrowding. There are a lot of open lots or spaces in this area, and they typically appear pretty dirty with a lot of litter and trash around. And I did notice that some areas were being used by the homeless as areas for sleeping and living in. Boundaries. Willow Glen is bordered by the 280 freeway to the north, Foxworthy Avenue to the south, Monterey Road and the 87 freeway to the east, and Bascom Avenue and Meridian Avenue to the west. Eastside San Jose is bordered by the 680 and 280 freeway to the north, Tully Road and Aborn Road to the south, Capitol Expressway to the east, and Center Road and King Road to the west. Housing. Willow Glen, the houses are really new and well maintained and well kept. Even the lawns and the outside general appearance is well kept. Eastside San Jose, the homes are much older. Even the lawns and the outside are not well maintained. Signs of decay were pretty evident in Eastside San Jose. There was a lot of trash and just garbage out in residential and public areas, on sidewalks and the streets. The streets are poorly cared for. There's a lot of potholes and cracks. Same for the sidewalks as well. And a lot of the homes just show evidence of decay and not being properly cared for. Demographics. Willow Glen has a population of 54,563 residents as of 2015, with the majority of the population white at 56%. This is then followed by a Hispanic or Latino population, Asian, those who identify with two or more races, and finally African American. The poverty level for this community is 7.1%. Eastside San Jose's population is 58,350 residents as of 2015, with the majority of the population Hispanic or Latino at 58.5%. This is followed by Asian, white, African American, and then those who identify with two or more races. The poverty level for this community is 19.4%. In Willow Glen, this community has residents of mostly white and Latino or Hispanic descent. I saw a lot of people dressed in business casual or casual attire. In Eastside San Jose, the community is mostly made up of Latino or Hispanic and Asian descent. I saw a good amount of people dressed up in either casual attire or uniforms. Health and lifestyle behaviors. In Willow Glen, I noticed that the majority of the people were of average build. Some did appear more fit and others appeared overweight. There were a lot of people driving around, but I did see many people out biking and a good amount of people out running, walking their dogs, or walking with strollers. In Eastside San Jose, the majority of people were average to overweight in build. Most people in this community drove around, but I did see a few people biking or walking. Risk behaviors. In Willow Glen, people in this community seemed to be a lot more active. There was a lot of people out running, walking, and bicycling. While in Eastside San Jose, a lot of people in this community seemed to be more sedentary. There were many more people driving around in comparison to the amount of people walking or biking. Parks and open spaces. Both Willow Glen and Eastside San Jose actually had a few large parks with pretty well-maintained play areas for children. Willow Glen had basketball courts, tennis ball courts, a baseball field. Eastside San Jose also had a basketball court and a baseball field. The biggest difference between the two were that the parks in Willow Glen, a few of them were actually under construction to keep them updated and maintain them, while the parks in Eastside San Jose seemed, the equipment at least, seemed a little bit older. Transportation. In Willow Glen, the primary means of transportation is by personal car. I saw very few people riding the bus. Caltrain also goes through this community, so this is another option for transportation, and especially for people commuting long distances. eBay is located in Willow Glen, and this company actually offers transportation to their employees who can take a shuttle bus between the campus and designated parking lots. In Eastside San Jose, the primary means of transportation is also personal car. However, I did see many more people taking the bus here than in Willow Glen, and bus routes and busways have been improved in this community to try to help relieve traffic and congestion. Health and social services. Willow Glen didn't actually have any urgent care or urgent care centers in this specific community, although there are several hospitals located directly outside. However, they had a lot of options for mental and behavioral health centers or psychiatry, psychology services. In Eastside San Jose, there were urgent care centers and a few healthcare centers, but there were no behavioral or mental health services or centers offered in this community. Protective services. Both Willow Glen and Eastside San Jose have one fire department each and no police department. The city of San Jose has one police department to cover all the communities in its area, and it is vastly understaffed. Religion. Willow Glen has many churches. The majority of them are of Christian denominations. There's Baptist, Methodist, Anglican, Episcopal, Presbyterian, Apostolic, Lutheran, Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and even a Church of Scientology. In Eastside San Jose, there were also many churches, although the majority of them were of the Catholic denomination of Christianity. I did notice that two other denominations were also present, which were Baptist and Evangelical. Education. Both communities had a lot of, or many different schools in the area. Willow Glen had multiple preschools, 6 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and 3 high schools, while Eastside San Jose had 2 preschools, 7 elementary schools, 4 middle schools, and 3 high schools. The biggest difference between the two were that Willow Glen offered options for private schooling from elementary through high school. Stores and shops. Willow Glen has a downtown area with multiple shops and restaurants. A lot of the shops are mom and pop shops and some chain stores. There are many different restaurants with varying cuisines available. The chain grocery stores in this area were Safeway, Whole Foods, and Trader Joe's. Eastside San Jose had multiple plazas with shopping and food options. The majority of the shopping were chain stores. There were also a lot of Hispanic, Latino restaurants and Asian cuisine restaurants, and a lot of fast food options. The chain grocery stores in this area were Walmart, Mi Pueblo, and the Tropicana. For the business and industry in Willow Glen, as I mentioned, mom and pop shops and higher end retail stores supply business, as well as restaurants and bars, which there are many of in Willow Glen, and also hair and nail salons and barber shops and grocery stores. In Eastside San Jose, the business is centered around chain retail stores, restaurants, and fast food chains, grocery stores, and there's also a mall. Major employers. eBay is located in Willow Glen, and that's a major employer for this community. Also, there are a lot of teaching positions available at the varying schools and the community businesses as well. In Eastside San Jose, Walmart and other chain stores just Target offer employment. Eastridge Mall is also another big employer. It's the only mall in this community, and it's pretty large. They offer a lot of different stores. There are also varying positions at schools and community businesses, just as Willow Glen. Signs of wealth or poverty. In Willow Glen, the streets were very well kept and maintained. No potholes, no cracks, nothing falling apart. It was, for the most part, free of litter and trash. However, in Eastside San Jose, a lot of the streets, especially in residential areas, had potholes and cracks and were kind of just falling apart. And there was a significant amount of litter and trash in a lot of places. Health issues and problems. Willow Glen, the problems were identified as overcrowding, stress, safety, and lack of health information available in other languages. In Eastside San Jose, health issues and problems were lack of access to affordable, healthy foods, drug use, overcrowding, and lack of access to mental health services. Community resources. Willow Glen has a fire department, a healthcare center. They offer counseling and psychotherapy and mental health services. There are 2 community centers and a senior center. There's an assisted living facility and a convalescent hospital. They also have a Goodwill and many churches. In Eastside San Jose, there is a fire department, an urgent care center, and a health care center. They have 3 community centers and many churches as well. Community strengths. Willow Glen has large parks and play areas for children. They have an adequate amount of access to health centers and mental health services. There's adequate fire safety, many options for religions through the different churches. There's a lot more available options for senior care, and there is also the option for varying education as they have access to private schools. In Eastside San Jose, they also have large parks and play areas for children. There's a significant amount of access to health centers, and they had adequate fire safety and churches. Stakeholders. In Willow Glen, the 2 key stakeholders I interviewed were Richard and Ed. They are both board members of the Willow Glen Neighborhood Association. The issues they identified were safety and overcrowding, which kind of go hand in hand. This community does have issues with crowding, although the entire city of San Jose in general has issues with overcrowding. This directly correlates to safety, particularly student and children's safety. During the week, this neighborhood is a high traffic volume area, as eBay is located in this community, and it is also very close to downtown San Jose, which is one of the centers for the tech industry. So there's just concerns of a lot of people out driving and trying to get to work while children, walking to school and going to school, and just a major concern over accidents happening and trying to keep children safe. The two population members I interviewed were Nicole and Kathy. They identified stress as a health issue for this community in particular because of the cost of living for Willow Glen. There's a lot of stress to make enough money to be living here. A lot of the people in this community do work in the tech industry, which is considered to be very stressful. They work long hours, and just the stress from the job as well as money issues can be enough of a problem to interfere with health. In Eastside San Jose, the two key stakeholders I interviewed were Peter and Michael. They're both firefighters in this community, and therefore they are first responders. Health issues they identified were drug abuse, as well as lack of access to health care and mental health care, which kind of go hand in hand. A lot of the people in this community don't have affordable health care, or they don't have health insurance at all. So their chronic illnesses and even just acute illnesses aren't really being dealt with in a timely manner or early on. So a lot of the calls they are responding to are people in advanced stages of health decline, which they're having to help take to the hospital. They also identified a correlation between drug abuse and a lack of mental health care services. A lot of the calls they have gone on where people have been on drugs, these people typically is not their first time coming into contact with them, and they are, noted to have mental health issues as well. The two population members I interviewed were Juan and Maria. They identified health issues related to overcrowding and as well a lack of access to affordable and healthy food. Overcrowding is a significantly worse issue in this community compared with Willow Glen. There are a lot of people living in one house in many of the homes in the residential areas in this community, which leads to stress, and it leads to higher risk of spreading illness and disease with all these people on top of each other. They also talked about a lack of access to affordable and healthy foods. There's a significant amount of fast food chains in this area, and a lot of the foods they eat are processed, or instead of trying to cook meals, they often go out to get food or bring food home. And there just isn't a lot of access to farmers markets or stores that sell organic, non-processed foods. Reflection. I felt this was a good educational experience, and it shed light on a lot of the differences between the two communities. Even though these communities are maybe a 10-minute drive from each other, there are a significant amount of differences. In Willow Glen, I felt safe in this community. A lot of the people were friendly and easy to talk to. I wouldn't mind living in this community. However, I don't know how realistic that is, just based off the cost of living in this area. In Eastside San Jose, I felt pretty safe in this community during the daylight hours. I think I would be a little bit more apprehensive to be out late at night by myself. People were a little bit reserved at first, but quickly became friendly. When talking with them, I just had a little bit of a language barrier. A lot of people in this community speak Spanish or Vietnamese or Chinese, so that can make it difficult sometimes to communicate with them. I wouldn't mind working in this area to help the low income and underserved population, as access to healthcare seems to be not a common thing in this neighborhood. Thank you everyone for listening to my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed it.